Some of the best ideas are born in the simplest of places, and for Ringers Western, it all began around a campfire on iconic Elquestro station. Today on Life Journey, I'm joined by James Salerno, one of the founders of Ringers Western. What started as a need for durable, high-quality country clothing that fitted well has grown into an enormous Australian brand, worn for both work and pleasure. Visiting the Ringers Western warehouse, I was struck by an atmosphere of genuine happiness and fun, a clear reflection of a business built on strong values, good people, and doing things the right way. In this conversation, James shares his story of building Ringers Western, the risks, along with the most difficult times their family has experienced. James, thank you so much. I've really been looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah,
and we have two mutual friends that so this came about through one of those friends.
Yeah.
And I had been speaking to you about my other project, Workhorse, and you just mentioned about Elquestro, and I thought, that would be really interesting. That would be an interesting story to hear. So thank you so much for being gracious enough to sit down with me and showing me your beautiful place and welcoming me into your family. So thank you.
You're welcome.
But I want to start with your childhood and growing up at Elquestro because it's such an iconic place now, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So I guess my father bought that with my uncle in the 80s. And it is a bit of a story of how they bought it. But they had another property in South Australia, and they were ripping up the carpets in the house, and they always wanted a cattle station. That was where they always wanted to head, and they were renovating the house or shifting things around. And under this, they pulled up the carpet. Underneath they had all newspaper there. And on one of the pieces of newspaper was an article to sell that property, and it must have been there for a little while as well, that the newspaper. And so they rang up, and the place was still for sale. It'd been for sale for a long time. And when they actually went to Kununurra to have a look at it, the real estate agent wouldn't even take them out there. He said that place is so bad. He said, you don't want to go there. It is such a bad cattle place. And Elquestro is not known for its cattle. It's not known for that. It's more for its beauty and things. But at the time, I don't most of those, Emma Gorge and some of the springs and things. They were never known at that point. So he ended up going out to Elquestro by himself, and he remembered telling us that when he was on the Gibb River Road, which is on the way out there, and he happened to meet someone on the road and said, do you know where Elquestro is? And the guy said, you're on it right now. So it's a million acres, so it's a big property, and I think they just fell in love with the place, and they bought it, and then us kids were born up there and growing up in the Kimberley, and it was a amazing place to grow up. Such a the expanse of land, it just goes on and on and on. And as a kid, one thing I always remember is just the vastness of the place, and that's really, really good memories there of growing up, of the horses, the cattle, the crocodiles, and just the wildness of the whole place. So great place to grow up.
Yeah, the Kimberley is an incredible place. There's nothing like it, and the colours and the rugged.
It
beauty.
is the rugged beauty. That's exactly right. Yeah. And it's kind of the place that it sort of gives you the most, but it can also take the most from you as well. So it can be very. It gives you so much, but it can be so dangerous at the same time. So wet season there is. I I don't know. Everyone says everywhere's hot, but I reckon it's the hottest place in the world there in the wet season and the humidity and yeah.
So was there any infrastructure there when you guys moved there?
Well, yeah, it was. Well, there was a homestead. It's still there now. Where we basically grew up, and it was just like a station house, and then a few sheds, and that was it. Emma Gorge was never there. My dad ended up. They didn't even, when they showed him the property, they never even showed him that place. I think most of them didn't even know it was there. So he built a road up to there, started all the camping there at Emma Gorge, and obviously named it Emma Gorge.
After your sister?
Yeah, my older sister. Yeah. And then I'm not sure if you've been there, Tim, but where the homestead is overlook on the cliffs.
Yeah, I've seen photos.
Yeah, he had the designs for all that there, and had a the skeleton of the structures there to begin with. So yeah, and tourism, like they basically started the tourism on Elquestro. There was no one there before that. The Gibb River Road, when we were kids, if you met 2 or 3 people a week coming along that road, that was a busy week, you know. And now, you know, the dust doesn't settle. It's just cars back and forth. So it's
so the tourism, was that kind of born from it not being a great cattle place?
Yeah. Well, it is. It's not a great cattle place. Like, there's a few areas that are good, but apart from that, it's just rock.
Yeah.
And but the beauty there is, you know, it is the best on the Gibb River Road. You know, it in one property, the different gorges and springs, and it's just, you know, even in the world, it's up there. You know, so it's very, very picturesque. Yeah.
And what did you do for school? Because there was 6. You had 6 siblings.
Six. Yeah. So we did school of there.
Through
over the radio.
Yeah.
So that
through
was,
where Mount Isa?
No, it was through
Derby.
Derby, yeah, Derby in like near Broome there.
Yeah. Right.
So they did it all through there, and then when we were older, we went to school in Adelaide for a little bit. Yeah, I never did too much school. I got a bit of an early minute from school, so. Not because I was good, but probably the opposite to that. So yeah, they let me go pretty early. Yeah.
And so, tell me about when did you leave there, and how did Ringers Western come about?
Yeah, so we left. My dad sold. Like, as we were getting older, like my older sister, she wanted to be a lawyer. So, you know, he basically, you know, we had a family meeting, and he was saying, look, if you're going to stay here, like, you know, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have to go boarding school and do this, but I think it's better that, you know, and my mum was also saying it as well, it's better that I think you move and you know, get an education, because you have one education there, but, you know, you want to be worldly, you know, and he was basically saying that, and we were probably turning a bit feral as well. Probably the other reason. And so, yeah, we moved, sold that property, made this. It was very, very probably. I think it's probably one of the hardest decisions that he's ever had to make, and probably for us too, was to sell that. And so we sold that in the 90s, and then went to school, and I did for a little while, and then I left school. I started an earthworks company when I was with a partner when I was after school. So we worked all over Australia with that, like from Blackwater, or from Townsville, Blackwater, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney. A lot of work in Sydney, building roads and things with machinery. So we did that for many years, and then we all wanted to go back to Elquestro. Like that, we all wanted to go back home, and the pastoralists came up there to take over, or running all the cattle again in about 2008. So we ended up buying all the cattle. We bought about 6,000 cattle there on the place, and we ran that for just under 10 years. And
So did you move back up there?
yeah,
or-
we moved back up. Yeah,
Yeah.
we moved back up, and we Ringers sort of started. Ringers Western was more like we're a big family. We all work together. Like we lived in a stock camp for basically 6 months of the year. So we would be mustering cattle here and would be there for 4 weeks, and then would move camp and then mustering cattle here. And it was all swags and mozzie domes, and towards the end we actually got a donga for a kitchen. Before that, everything was out in the open. So the clothes and what you wore, they went through the ringer, and there was I kind of tell people quite often, like I'm quite, like my arms are quite long, so when when the sun, I'd be getting burnt, like because the sleeves weren't long enough, and so I'd be getting burnt there, and also in the shoulders as well, like when you're branding a lot of cattle and you're moving a lot of movements, a lot of shirts would rip here, and so it kind of around the fire one night, having a few beers and things, we said, we should just start making our own clothes, like we should make something. So from there, we basically drew on a back of a Weet-Bix packet, like a shirt that we were designed, and a hat, like a cap, and that's how it first started. And we basically, I remember going to someone and saying, can you make this here for us? And they looked at it, and it's like a little scribble on the back of a thing. And amazingly enough, they actually did. They did do it, and that was the first things we ever did in Ringers, and that was around 2012. And Ringers, I don't think if you had have asked any of us, is it going to be a clothing brand? No, it was not going to be a clothing brand. It was just clothes for us to wear, and things that we like wearing. And then what kind of happened from there is that it was kind of the time where social media started to take off, and the landscapes and things people were really interested in. And Elquestro obviously has one of the nicest landscapes in Australia, and so people would follow the page of the station, and we'd be posting on there hats we were wearing or shirts, and then people would just message in and say, hey, can I get one of those hats, or where did you get that from, or and that's how it started. And we started posting things out from Kununurra, which I had to talk to you about it before, but it's probably the slowest postal system in Australia, because it goes, Kununurra is 50 k's from the NT border, and it doesn't go to Darwin, because that it would be closer. The post goes all the way to Perth, which is almost 3,000 k's, and then it goes from Perth to East Coast. So it's basically 2 weeks. So that people waiting 2 weeks to get something, it wasn't really viable. And so our auntie had a house on the Gold Coast, so we thought, let's just go down there. We'll set up in our garage, and we can send things out. At least it's a lot closer to everywhere we're sending to, and that's how we ended up coming to the Gold Coast to start with, and then it kind of, Ringers just kind of grew from there. Like, very, very organic. Like, we have a very good team, a very good family. We always work together. Like, we've done that ever since we've been little. Like, our parents have installed that in us, and our grandfather has as well. It's been multi-generation. It's been very, very important for us to work together, and that's how Ringers first started. How it kicked off.
James, did you find, like, when you were starting out, and when you start with nothing, you don't, and no experience, did you find that but you made your choice, your decision, did you find the right people came along at the right time? And I always find that fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's funny you said that. Our first designer we ever had, because none of us are designers. Like we're just
Ringers.
We're not come from that industry. We have no experience. Our next door neighbour, or a couple of houses up on the Gold Coast, she had a friend who was a designer, and she was our first ever. We talked to her, and she was our first ever employee, and she's still at Ringers now. So
That's incredible.
yeah, and she did all our designs and things from our kitchen table in the early days, and you can talk to her about that. Like she was in our kitchen working. That was the office. So yeah, it's funny how things come when you need them. Yeah, for sure.
And where did the name come from? How did you settle on the name?
So like we were Ringers, and it was we were in the West, but it was Western, so it was very, very simple. And the logo for the bull was a bull that we actually caught, and he was it's a bit of a story, but we're mustering big paddocks, like generally we muster 1,000 breeders at a time, and the Kimberley, especially Elquestro, it's not well fenced. It's very hard to fence it well because there's so many ranges and things. So you have a lot of like clean skin cattle coming in and scrub bulls, and it's very, very hard. If you can get like 80% of your cattle in a year, you're doing very, very well. So there's a big element of clean skin cattle then. So every year we'd get lots of clean skin bulls and cows, and you're very like a lot of scrub cattle, and so this one bull, his big black bull, he was on the tail of the mob all day, and very, very touchy. You just see him, he was very, very touchy, and he came to just about where we're yarding up, and there's a road you have to cross, and then down into the yards, and he was the last to cross there, and there was 2 helicopters behind him, and they were like, I don't know if this guy's going to go in. He just had a high head, and he did not want to be there, and just at the last minute he just ran across and joined up with them, and he went in the yard, and I kind of forgot about it after that. And then the next day we were drafting them, and every time someone stepped in the yard with him, he would jump out into the next yard, and I've never seen a more athletic animal before in my life of a bull. And there's a video on YouTube of him jumping 2 yards, and it got 8 million views in like a month.
Wow.
And it was just a video that we took, and that was the bull that is in the logo of Ringers Western.
Whoa, that was amazing.
And that bull ended up jumping out of the yards, and we never ever saw it again. But he at least he made
he's left his legacy.
Yeah, left his legacy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And James, I just wanted to ask you, because have you mentioned about Turkey? Because when I messaged you to start with, you were in Turkey, and you explained to me why you manufacture in Turkey. So good point. I'm not sure if you know, but the denim like for jeans and things that come out of Turkey is that their process of how they mill it and dye it and get the fabric soft is one of the best processes in the world. So we were over there just going through the process of the jeans, and also what they have is a fiber trace. So they put it's like like rare earth minerals, how they have the rare, they make batteries and things out of them, but they put a little bit of that in the denim. So then what that does is, say that cotton from the pair of jeans I'm wearing came from Gundawindi, it's traced from there. So you put this machine on it, and you in the material, and it picks up where that cotton was made, and it's called fiber trace. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a new process. So it gives like the consumer they know where their product's coming from, they know where their cotton's coming from, and the whole process to it, and then it goes, from it gets picked in Australia and gets milled, and then gets made into jeans or shirts or t-shirts or whatever, and you can trace that the whole way through.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, really interesting, and also too, they were telling us, like, you can burn those pair of jeans, and because it's carbon fibre, you can still trace where they've come from, because of the rare earth is traceable. Yeah.
So I did say manufacture, but do you manufacture in Turkey?
Yeah, we do actually.
So they do everything. So that's that is so good to know, and that you do that because of the quality of the product that you can get there, and it's not a place that I would have thought was big into manufacturing, but so I found that very interesting. Yeah. James, when I was speaking to one of my friends about you, and he said, he's been here and just gets a sense of kindness and humility and togetherness as a family. And I sensed that when I drove in, we drove in and there's a sand pit and all the cousins are there, and it was all the little cousins, and, reminded me a little bit of when our kids were little, but it's so nice. And this fellow said, when you go away from there, you think it gives you a sense of you wanting to do better. As far as getting on with people and kindness, but you've been through some challenges with stigma around the court case.
For sure.
So do you mind? Do you feel comfortable sharing that?
No problem. I guess just to answer that, like, I think why, if we're good at anything in our family, it's working together, and that's come from our dad. Like, he's always the one who makes sure we are like doing the best, being the best we can be, and also, he's not for himself. He's for he's for other people, he's been like that his whole life, and he's the best person I know. And his name is James Salerno, James Gino Salerno. My name is James Gino Salerno, and my son's name is James Gino Salerno. And so, I guess, when was it? There was a cousin in our family made allegations against him of sexual abuse, and she's in my opinion, our family's opinion, she's always had that like a problem since she was young. Like, she's had a lying problem. Like, she's always had that type of thing going through her life, and so she made allegations against my father. He ended up going to court. He ended up getting prosecuted for it. He got appealed straight away. The judges overturned the decision. So and then he went back to court again. He got prosecuted again, and then it went to he went to appeal again, and they overturned it and said it should never have even been in court in the first place. But what happened in that whole period, it doesn't really matter, the end result, that he's innocent, and that you have a whole stigma that goes along with that, and that they hear the name James Salerno, and they automatically think that it is this James Salerno. So it's something that we've had to deal with in ringers, and it's I guess that one of the toughest challenges we've had to go through, especially probably that the hardest thing is knowing someone that you know is innocent, is going through that, and all the things that does. It is like I probably wouldn't wish it on our worst enemy, but it is that is one of the biggest challenges I think we've been through in our lifetime. Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Like, has it been easier because you are such a big family, and you know, I imagine it would have been far more difficult to take emotionally had you just been one person. But when, you know, there's 6 kids and cousins, and so does that make it easier?
Yeah, I definitely think when you
that
have
you're spreading the pain.
Yeah, and I think too, like people can accuse you of whatever they want. If you did it, you did it. If you didn't do it, you didn't do it. And I think that was the thing. Like we were all very clear about the situation, and I think when you know that, you know, that gets you through it. But there is all the things that go along with it as well. Like it hasn't been an easy it hasn't been an easy initiation to overcome. Like there's a lot of things that go along with that you need that emotionally you have to deal with.
And I think at the end of the day, everybody in society probably doesn't do this enough. They don't take people as they find them. And I think that's the most important thing. You make your own judgments.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard not to listen to all the stuff that's going on outside.
That's right, yeah.
But and I think people give you a sense too, don't you, of who they are when you first meet them. I remember I was telling you I worked at Channel 10, and this fellow came through one day, and I just got this really, really terrible feeling from him. I just people emit who they are. I think.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But it's. I think we need to learn to be more understanding and less liable to listen to all the Chinese whispers or whatever, and make our own judgments regardless.
I think too, like going through those challenges, you see people who know you, they know the situation, and they know. And they, you know, I'd get calls from people who are very close and say, like, I know this is all, I know your dad, I know that, and you know, we're right behind you. And then you'd have other people who just would never talk to you. So I think you do understand. You get you sort of get to know people well in that process when challenges come along. So
and that's very hard to feel like. Someone's ostracising you, or, you know, in your own society. So, James, I know that you like to give back. So, how important is that to you as a family and giving back to people?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you should tell anyone this, but I think we only started Ringers to give stuff away. Like that's actually what we did. It wasn't like we were gonna. I don't think we ever thought we were going to make money out of this and, you know, do that. We literally started it to have our own clothes and give them away to people, and I think we do pretty well at that. And I think in the beginning we were like almost went broke doing that, and you know, like, but I think that you know, giving back is the best thing. Like we do a lot with different charities like the Royal Flying Doctors and, you know, Ronald McDonald House, things like that. We do like a line of clothes for them every year, like for the kids who are sick in the hospitals, and you know, that's pretty heartbreaking seeing some of those kids there being sick and things, and you know, even just like locally on the Gold Coast, the homeless, donating things there. But yeah, we do try and help anyone, and it's the people who are up and coming as well. You know, like there's people who. You know, we like to get behind anyone who's having a go, like anyone who's starting something, like doesn't matter what it is. Like, you know, they're you know, you get people writing in all the time saying, oh, I'm in a little kid, like might be, you know, 10 years old, and he's got a dog and he's putting it into a competition for something and he needs this or that, and yeah, let's do it, help him out. So I think that, you know, that's part of us as a family, that we love to do that and love to get behind people who are having a go and doing something.
You sponsor the Reds too, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We do the Reds. We do a lot of different teams actually. I should know most of them, but I probably don't. There's like a lot of the NRL teams, the Rabbitohs, and who else? The Bulldogs. Canberra. A lot of good teams there. Yeah.
And James, like it's never easy starting a business, especially remotely from the bush. So, do you have any advice that you would give to people that are wanting to start something or farm or, you know?
I don't know if we should be the ones giving advice, because when we started, we didn't have the money to do it. And we basically ordered things, we had no money. And I remember we basically, the whole family, like, we need to pay for this, we have money that, I'm not sure if you understand, but when you order things, you pay like a deposit to start with, and then when it's finished, you pay the rest of it. We didn't have the money to pay the rest of it. So we basically went back in the mines in just out of Kununurra, and we were driving road trains and loaders, and just to get the money to actually pay for the to start off with. So I don't know if that's the best advice to give people. But look, if you're gonna achieve something, you sort of got to take some risks and you know, put yourself out there.
Yeah. I think you probably have to have faith in what you're doing, and don't try to have everything. Like you said, you didn't know how you were going to pay for it, but you did what you had to do to get it paid for. But you worried about that when that happened. So sometimes, I mean, I think it's good to plan and make sure that things are going to go to plan, but sometimes you've just got to put yourself out there and do it. And then, you know, the next door neighbour will supply the designer for you that you never knew. So, James, thank you. I really am glad that my two friends made the connection for me with you. And
you're welcome.
I'm very grateful to sit down with you, and thank you for sharing your story, because, it's just really very interesting, and especially the Elquestro part, and because it's such an iconic place in Australia now, and so well regarded, and
it is,
to think that you had something to do, you know, that you were lived up there, it's quite incredible. So thank you,
place.
thank you so
thanks.
much.